Hello, everybody. My name is Michael Hader, media assistant for the UC baseball team, and I'd like to welcome you all to the first ever Inside UC Baseball podcast. We're very excited to be putting out a podcast weekly and bi-weekly throughout the year, talking about everything UC baseball, such as on-field, off-field, and everything in between. I hope you guys enjoy the podcast and tune in to what we have next. Joining me today are assistant coaches Ryan Hunt, Dylan Mazzo, and Gabe Vigil. Thank you all for taking the time out of your day and joining me to talk a little bit about the UC program.
Oh, thanks for doing this, Michael.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, to get things started, Ryan, you're the only one that's been at the UC before this year. What has the progression been like in this program from the first year you came here today, and what do you think has led to such progression?
I think it's been, first off, it's been huge to see the change in the Charleston area as it relates to our program, the perception that we have in the area, the fans that come out, the support that we've seen in the area and in the athletic department. I think it's a true testament to the success that we've had and the behaviors that we choose to employ. The main reason that I'll poke into and go as far as our progress, I think it all relates back to feedback. That's something that Coach Wright's really stressed in his 3 years here so far, and that's really pushed the needle forward in our program. We've taken every avenue possible to listen to what players have to say so we can constantly improve their experience here. And ultimately, I think we've been able to give them a better life and experience within our program to make sure that the product that we're putting on the field is leading us in the right direction. I think our success as a program is directly related to the behaviors that we choose to employ. So that's all tying back to feedback, and I think being able to understand that has pushed us in the right direction.
So basically taking what the players say, that's more important than really anything.
For sure. It's all about them, about the player's perspective.
For you guys that are coming into the program this year, Dylan and Gabe, what is it that you brought to UC, or what is it that you think you're going to bring to UC, and what has impressed you most about the program so far?
So for me, it's a super unique opportunity for me. Even just how I got the job, like it was just coincidence, or I don't even know what you would call it. It was just being at the right place at the right time.
Yeah, exactly.
And with the connections that I've had previously and my coaching experience prior to here has led me to being a part of this program now. So obviously a new job opportunity for me was, why I'm here. There was an opportunity for me to take the next step in my coaching career, especially with the freedoms or the responsibilities that Coach Wright has given me. It's going to allow me to really fine-tune my processes within the ability of, or within the parameters of being in a successful program. Like the foundations are already here. Mm-hmm. My goal is to elevate to the next level. Yeah. And I think everybody here has the same goal in mind. But Coach Wright and all the other coaches and players have been super, super receptive and welcoming to what I've been able to bring to the table, so far. And the other piece that's, again, obviously being at 3 other schools, coaching, I can't stress it enough how much this university, from top to bottom, is fully invested into their athletic programs. Yeah. Like, I know that sounds like super, super normal, but it's not.
Exactly.
Like, it's not like fully invested from top to bottom in development of their coaches, in the development of their players, to just the overall student-athlete experience to me is, I don't know, I just feel very fortunate to be at the University of Charleston.
Exactly.
So, and again, coming from another program, like, it's pretty challenging, like learning
new things.
Like faces, names, like where the
especially
cafeteria
with the baseball team, there's like 50-something people on the team.
Like just as simple as like where the cafeteria is. Like,
just learning
what the names of the dorms are. Like, I know that doesn't seem, but for me to seem educated in everything that I do, it's important to fully grasp that. Yeah. But again, I think our staff does a really good job of just being a cohesive unit. And again, it gets back to the feedback point for me is if something's not right or something's not up to the expectation of somebody else, there's a conversation to be had about it in a non-demeaning manner. Like, it's just, there's a conversation to be had of what the expectation is when you become a part of this program. So
I think that's really like a great thing. Like, what I've noticed since I've been here is just new ideas. Like, so there's going to be bad ideas, but just keep the new ideas coming, and then you're going to find a great one from it.
well,
So I think that's what's great about this program.
Yeah, and you work through a whole bunch of bad ideas before you get to that good one.
But once you get the good one,
no doubt. But like, and it's the same thing. Like, you know, the guys, and I think this is an inside track. Like, for players, even high school players or college players, like, what shows up at practice is super methodical and thought out on the front end. And I don't think people realize that. It's like we put the practice plan together and just show up, and it's like, here you go.
Yeah.
There's intent with everything that we do.
Exactly.
The way we structure practice, to the things that we say at practice, to
the
everything.
way you say it and everything.
Yeah, like there's just a lot more thought that goes into it. And that's going to kind of tie into the stuff that I talk about a little bit later. But like, sorry.
What brought me to UC was a podcast that I heard Coach Wright on Top Coach. And what I usually tend to do is, after coaches go on those podcasts, I tend to reach out and try to get better myself, being at the high school level where I was at before. Coaching high school, you also have, a lot of times you also have to have a second job, your real day job. So I was doing that. Then that's when I ended up getting, I guess, an offer from Coach Wright to come out and help the program out this season. Told him it was something I wasn't going to be able to do. Started looking into the program, seeing the success they had, seeing the success that I felt that they're going to have in the future just because of being under his leadership, and then his coaching tree as far as what he does with the development of the previous coaches that he has. It was a no-brainer. So that's when I decided to go ahead and take the opportunity.
Okay. Being that you all play the sport, what is the biggest difference and learning curve you've noticed from being on the field, playing, to now coaching the players?
Well, the biggest thing that I learned just throughout coaching in my 10 years was all players react differently to different types of situations. So you have to, as a coach, be able to talk to them and get to know them to understand what makes them tick, what shuts them down, and be able to fire them up when they are shut down after failure, or just get them to do something that you want them to do, as far as knowing their cues and changing your language as well.
Mm-hmm.
Side note, sorry, time out, shocker. I need to readdress that question. I mean, the biggest learning curve, the difference for me that I try and instill in our players is, and you guys know, is the perspective changes pretty quickly as soon as you put the glove down. Literally the day after you put the glove down, you're like, probably would have done things differently.
Yeah.
Or I could have done this, or I could have done that. So for me, my goal as a coach is to get the players to be their own coaches and know themselves best. Mm-hmm. Right? Like,
and that goes into you're talking about the watch their own swing and then give a presentation on their swing. I think that's a great idea, because it's showing them that they need to know themselves more than anybody.
Yeah, and the reality in college baseball is you don't get to spend as much time with them as perceived. And actual baseball instruction makes up the smallest portion of our day. Mm. So ultimately, I want them to have the perspective that most players have post-playing. I want them to have prior.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest piece that I've tried to help players understand. And again, from the offensive standpoint, which is my responsibility, it's be the king of your swing. Like, some guys come from all different types of backgrounds, but them being responsible and taking ownership of their processes is going to help them develop overall.
Mm-hmm. Kind of to jump in off of that, I think the biggest thing that I found as a player to help me was to understand what worked best for me individually. And that's a kind of a different perspective than what you need from a coaching side. Is you have to be able to take the individual and find out and help them see what works best for them. So not only do you have to know one philosophy, you have to know every hitting philosophy or every defensive philosophy. You have to be able to tie in exactly what works for that player based off of how their body works or different aspects that relate to who they are personally. You have to be able to tie in what they need to do as far as how it works for them. So I think that's been a cool challenge so far. It's almost like putting puzzle pieces together to figure out how you can make each individual person the best version of themselves possible. So that's something that's really changed my perspective from being a player to now a coach.
Yeah, and the other thing is too, we talked about it from our assistant coach development meeting today, was having that adapter, right? Of having the ability to not speak one language, but the ability to appeal to a variety of different people. I think that's what makes the best coaches, of guys that can be up here, down there, wherever, to all sorts of different players. And it's extremely difficult, especially just getting done playing, because your knee-jerk reaction is to teach what made you better.
Yeah, exactly.
But necessarily that's not what's going to be best for every individual.
Yeah. Going off that, is there anything that you've learned or picked up from coaches you've had in the past that you utilize today when helping instruct and coach players?
I mean, there's a bunch of things, man. Like, I've had some really, really great mentors and some really great bosses over the last couple of years, if you even want to call them that. Like, have really shaped me into what the coach that I've become. And obviously, the programs have had success for that reason. Every experience that I've had prior to this has, again, individually on so many different levels, my takeaway from coach is different. Like, there's certain things that you like that each person does, and there's certain things you like or that you don't like that each person does. But for me, they're equally as valuable, and I didn't understand that because I was a one-track mind. Yeah, exactly. So for me, it's the biggest takeaway. And I could do an entire section on each person that I've worked for and the things that I've learned from them. But for me, it's really been about understanding the individuality of each process and not trying to put one way of doing things. But without having that, the perspective, having perspective in each thing that happens on a daily basis and being able to adapt to different things.
So just being open in general to new ideas and all that.
Yeah, but the only reason that I realize that is because I've had coaches where I've been a part of or seen people that aren't like that. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, there's certain people that react to that. I've had, with the conversations that I've had over the last couple of days, there's guys that are like, this is how I want you to do it. This is how I want you to coach. This is how I want it. This is you know what I'm saying? From an abrasive side of yell at me, get on me a little bit. But again, it's understanding. I think the biggest takeaway for me is just having that perspective and understanding that from what's the word I want to use? From a, not perspective, but from a, I don't even know. You understand what I'm saying, though? Yeah. It's just understanding the people that are in front of you at that time and where they're at.
Yeah, definitely.
Kind of piggyback off of that, I think I've been able to be around, play for, and coach with some tremendous baseball minds. But one thing I'll take from each of them is how they deal with certain situations, kind of like what Dylan was talking about a little bit. I've found it to be extremely important understanding how to be able to relate to each different individual, whether that's understanding how each player learns, what kind of communication style they relate to. It all goes back to ultimately how can we reach that player better. And I think that's something that I've taken in the short time that I've been able to coach, is it doesn't matter what you're going to tell the player, the player's not going to care until they know that you care about them. So until you can connect the dots with them, relate to them on a personal level, no matter what you want to bring to the table as far as instructing them, they're not going to take it until they know that you personally want to invest in their career. So that's something that I've taken pride in learning from the coaches that I've been able to be around, is how best can you relate to your players.
Everybody in the UC baseball program plays a role in the success the program has on and off the field. What are some of the things you think you'll bring to the team that will help the team repeat the success it had last year and soar past that?
So what I'm bringing is, I got 10 years coaching experience now at the high school level and at the travel ball level. And being from California, I'm hoping that my ties to that state and to the area could bring in some new recruits, bring in some blood over here, and hopefully just bring more success.
I'll be frank. My goal is to win the World Series. Like, no doubt, everything that I do on a daily basis is surrounded by that.
Yeah.
And the processes of which that I go about that are at that level. Not saying, like, I'm there every day, but the stuff that I do on a daily basis, and honestly, it's been because of the people that are around me that have made me better at a variety of different things. I mean, they can attest. I can bring a lot of energy. I can talk a lot. We can do whatever, but I'm trying to be more. No, but I get my thing. I don't know. I would be more interested because him. Okay, side note, and this can definitely go in it.
Yeah.
I don't think, and this is me being not humble, but it's the same conversation that I brought up. I'm curious to see what he thinks that I can bring to the table. Hunt and I have spent a lot of time together over the last month and a half.
Yeah.
So he can speak to what I can bring to the table or what I've done differently to help us get where we want to go, which again is winning the World Series. I'm not saying that if we don't win that, it's not a successful season, because you can take positives out of everything, and that's something I firmly believe in. But everything we do in this office on a daily basis is with that goal in mind.
Yeah, exactly.
So he can speak more to about it, and I could speak to the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So I'd be curious again, and I think this stems back to what we just talked about from the EQ perspective of understanding. But your opinion to me, because perception is reality.
Exactly.
Right?
Perception is definitely reality. Yes.
What I think that I bring to the table could be completely wrong.
Yeah.
Than what is reality. So
I think from a reality standpoint, what you bring to the table is a ton of energy and a specific and an attainable desire to make every single player on the program better. And I think that's something that I'm trying to learn from, that I want to implement in my daily routine, is to make sure that I can look at our roster and say, how am I catering to each individual? How am I getting each player better? And that's something that Dylan, and we've talked about from a hitting philosophy already, is we need to be able to be all things to every individual. We need to know how to approach each individual, again, kind of like what I said earlier, to how we can best relate to them and help them become their best best version of themselves possible. So that's something that Dylan has really brought to the table so far already, and I think that we're going to see huge dividends in the spring about that. For me personally, I'm just trying to be myself. From the people that know me, I'm a little bit different, but I care a lot, especially about the people around me, and I'm always trying to learn. That's something that I'll try to take with me no matter where I go. But it's easier, and being encouraged because of the guys that I'm around to express myself, to learn more, and to chase down those goals. So it's easy to want to improve and to want to learn when I'm surrounded by the people that I get to work with every single day, which has been a huge pleasure so far.
So, can I add something about him?
Yeah.
And I mean this in a genuine way, is Hunt. I don't want this to come off as super cheesy and corny, but I think this is worth mentioning because I think it speaks volume to our staff. I can't tell you the change that's happened, and you can talk to my friends, my family, my fiance, like you can talk to those people about the change, and it's nothing necessarily that was going on previously, but it's just surrounding yourself with people that truly invest in your daily development, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So to me, Hunt has the conversations that him and I have had have made me better, right? We challenge each other in the weight room every day. Like I don't want to show up to the gym. I know this is like super simple, but I show up to the gym every day because I know he's going to be there. Him and Zoe are going to be there, and it's going to get me better.
Yeah.
Right? Like
So
something
pushing
as
each other
simple.
to go to the next
100%.
Exactly.
100%. So for something as simple as that, has changed my, I don't want to say it's changed my life, but it's changed my perspective on things of like taking an outside look at that. That's completely changed the way I go about my business on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And then again, some of the conversations that him and I've had, and it's also the thing that's really exciting about this for me is it's giving me an opportunity to mentor a little bit too and give some guidance to guys that that want to learn. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like again, I understand I can talk a lot and like just trying to think of how I want to word it. My ultimate goal, as being an assistant coach and being one for the last couple of years or a while, is I want to help coaches. Like I just want to help other coaches. And I'm super humble in the regard that like I don't think I have a platform to do that.
Yeah.
But with people that want to listen, I'm more than willing to help out with like, and I have a pretty strong coaching community from the standpoint of guys that I played with that have gone on and coached other programs or guys that I've coached with that have gone on to coach in other programs. And I try to make it, my goal is to talk to people and learn other processes and do other stuff. So I haven't necessarily been diving into the personal development stuff previously like Coach Wright and Hunt have, like podcast, books, like all that stuff. That wasn't my thing. My thing was creating, developing, and fostering relationships with other coaches.
Yeah.
Like that was my development stuff was, and I still do it. Like I still, now my time, my drive home from work, I used to have an hour and 15 drive.
Yeah.
Like from work. So I use that time. There's something about that to me of making that time to talk with others and just picking their brain about things. I had a conversation with one of my really good friends yesterday about what the processes that they do, things that are going really, really well. And I think it all stems back to what? Feedback. Right? Like for me, that's coining a term on it. Like the word feedback is like, it's very clear as to what that is, but there's so much like assessing, like a SWOT analysis, right? Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. What's up, NBA? How you doing? But seriously, like, I think that's such a valid thing of doing an analysis, not on a daily basis, but every once in a while of doing that, talking with other people, that it either validates your processes or probably have something you need to change.
Yeah.
So that to me, like, and I truly do mean this, and I not Hunt as well as the other coaches on the staff have pushed the boundaries of what I was doing and challenged my processes and challenged my ideologies to just be better.
I think that's what, like, unique, not really unique about the program, but just a great aspect of it is everybody's willing to learn and willing to try new things. And it's not, nobody has this kind of, like, complex where they're just, I know everything and we're going to do it this way. And I think that's what's great.
To piggyback off that a little bit, I was kind of joking with my mom this summer. She says, for 20 years, I tried to get you to learn to love to read. And it didn't happen until I started, became a member of this program. So I think that speaks to the quality of environment we've created here.
Before we go, is there anything coming up in the future that you guys would like to promote or draw some attention to?
I think the biggest thing we have in the near future is we have our fall showcase camp on the 14th of October. It's pretty much our biggest recruiting event of the year. About a third of our active 2019 roster has come from that camp. So it's a big event for us. We really try to bring in as much talent as possible and provide a quality experience for the players that do attend. So for anyone willing to for reaching out for more information regarding that, check out our website. You can find everything you need to know as far as that. And the other biggest piece, which is happening relatively soon in May of 2019, is the construction will start for our new turf facility. So that's going to be huge. That's going to be a game changer for us. Hopefully separate us from a student-athlete experience, and again, just try to provide the best experience possible for the guys that are in our program.
Once again, thank you all for sitting down and talking to me about UC baseball. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I'd also like to say a special thank you to everybody that's listening. I speak for everybody here at UC Baseball when I say we're incredibly grateful for everybody who supports the program throughout the year. I hope you all have a great day, and hopefully we'll see you next time on the Inside UC Baseball podcast.